I used to be someone who took things personally, and today I still take things personally because that's how my mind works. For people who take things personally, that's our default response when certain situations happen, when certain people say certain things. But today I also know how to manage it better. From my personal learnings, I want to give you a few lessons on how to not take things personally. These are the things that I practice in my life too. Before we start, if you would like to work with me one on one, or if you would like to join any of my monthly group coaching sessions, click the link in description. Firstly, if you look closely, taking things personally is simply you making everything about you. Someone lets out a long sigh, you think they are pissed with you. Someone is ignoring your text, you think they don't value you. Someone says no to you and you think you're not worthy enough. You see how you make everything about you. But things are not always about you. Not everything is about you. People's actions are about them. Just like how you have your own thoughts and emotions behind your actions, people have their own thoughts and emotions behind their actions. People have a different intent behind their actions. It's not always about you. That's the most important lesson. And now that you know this lesson, it doesn't mean that tomorrow onwards you're magically going to stop taking things personally, because your mind has worked a certain way for so many years. So when something happens, it's gonna go into this default mode of taking it personally. But here's what you are going to do. First, observe yourself. Catch yourself when you're taking it personally, because something is happening, some situation is happening, and you try to make it about you, it means you're taking it personally. So you catch yourself and then you try to tell yourself, you remember that this is not about me. Like, people's actions are not about me. So this constantly reminding yourself that this is not about me is the practice. And once you remind yourself of that, then you choose the correct response to that situation. Not the response that comes when you're taking it personally and you're all worked up about it. That's not the right response. The response that would come if you're not taking it personally. That's how you would usually act. Go with that response. Number two, which is an insightful lesson, you're not bothered about the event itself. You're bothered about the meaning you attach to that event. You're bothered about how you interpret that event. For example, let's say someone is ignoring you. That's the event. You think that you're not worthy enough. That's the meaning you attach to it. Now see how your mind automatically made this about you. But the event could mean anything. Maybe they're busy. Maybe they didn't notice. So the next time you find yourself attaching a meaning like this to a situation where the meaning has something to do with you, you're gonna catch yourself and you're gonna rewrite that. Instead of making it about you, like you're gonna go, maybe they are busy, maybe they are occupied, maybe they didn't mean it this way, maybe they were upset about something else. So you're gonna go from me to them, they. It helps you not internalize it. It helps you create some distance over there. Number three, assumptions. One of the biggest mistakes you do is when you assume what people think about you, or when you assume people's intent. And it causes unnecessary problems because you're not operating from the reality, you're operating from that assumption. You tell yourself that, oh, they hate me, they don't like me, they don't value me, they don't respect me, maybe they don't want me to be here. But you don't know that yet. Honestly, mostly people are just unaware and uninformed of how you perceive reality and what your expectations are. People operate from their own thoughts, limits, expectations, their way of looking at life, and it has nothing to do with you. But when you assume people's intent, when you try to read their mind, you're going to act from that assumption. For example, someone might really respect you, but they could say no to you. They could respect you and still say no. But because you're assuming that they said no, they don't value you, they don't respect you, now you're going to operate from that assumption, and you're going to do something that might hurt the other person also, that you might regret later as well. So stop assuming, and the next time you find yourself assuming, making assumptions inside your head, catch yourself, flag that as an assumption, and tell yourself that I don't know this yet. This is just an assumption. I don't know it yet. So let me wait for myself to know better. Let me wait for more information. Number four is that when you take things personally, it also reflects in how you respond to that situation. For example, let's say someone didn't notice you in a meeting and you are taking it in your head as they don't like me. Now, there are a few possible responses that could come from your end to this. Maybe you might say, I'm going to show them that I don't like them as well. Or maybe you might try to win them. You might try to prove yourself because they are an important person in the group or in the office. Or you might want to change yourself to please them. Now, none of these are uplifting behaviors. None of these are coming from your true self, and you will end up regretting it later. All your actions has to come from your true self. It shouldn't come out because you thought someone is thinking a certain way about you, because you made assumptions, because you took it personally. That makes you go away from your actual character. I'll give you another example. So you could be someone who generally doesn't flaunt or generally doesn't flex or talk about your achievements or how much money you have. But let's say you are in a circle where everyone is doing that, for example, and suddenly you also feel this urge to do it. You feel like, oh, maybe I am not being good enough here. Maybe they are judging me. Maybe they want me to talk about this. So you have all of these things inside you that's happening, and you end up flexing about the money or about your achievements, which you might regret later because you're not a person who would usually do that. And because of the circumstance and because you took certain things personally, you end up doing it. And when this continuously happens, that's when you start to lose yourself. You will start to hate yourself because you're no longer acting from your sense of values. You're no longer acting from your character. You're acting from a very surface level. You're just reacting to the situations instead of thinking about them and then acting from your principles. So always ensure that your actions come from your values, not from the situation, not from how people treated you, not from the emotions, not because you took things personally. Now, that being said, you might have a question. Neethika, not everything is always about others, right? Sometimes it's about us. Sometimes we are the one making mistakes. So how do we find that out? Here's a simple way. If something bothers you and you have full control over it, like there is something that you can do to change the situation, because maybe it has something to do with how you show up, how you speak, how you behave. If it is in your control and you think that you can take certain actions and you also know what is the right thing to do at that moment, by all means go ahead and do it. For example, let's say you're receiving criticism from your team leader or manager or from anyone, and maybe that criticism came in a rude voice, in a high tone from the other person, and you didn't like it. But still, whatever feedback that came made sense. It is something that you need to improve in yourself. So when you realize that, you go ahead and make those changes in your behavior, in your work. That is the right thing to do at that point. But if you're worried about something that you can't control, that you can't change, you can't do anything about, then you will have to let that go. For example, this same thing. If someone gives you feedback in a rude tone, you can change the feedback because that is in your control. But you can't change the person's way of speaking. You don't control how they speak. So that is something that you have to let go of. Now, I'm at the end of the video. I hope that was helpful. I'll see you guys in another video. Take care.